fairy tale. Don't you wanna stay? You are a fairy tale. I hope that you don't run.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Hendryx Files, where we talk about movie in the world of entertainment. And today, instead of talking about movies, I decided I was going to talk about something that I think is actually very cool, and that is a little company called Cirque Du Soleil. Now, if you haven't heard about these people, they are known for almost like a circus type deal that they do. And they do all these really cool performances. Some of them have storylines. More of them are more just to show off talents like acrobat or just all this different stuff that they do that I think is actually very cool. Now, this was a company that was funded in 1984, which was not too long ago, but I really would like to know, to be honest, how they almost ran their deal back then, because now there's like lighting that helps them. There's some, I want to say, like, they almost look CGI, to be honest. Like, there's girls literally bending like rubber bands, and it's crazy. Their costumes are really advanced, and it's just very flashy, and it's very cool to me. And I do want to know, maybe we can do some research on it later if I do another episode about them, if I see them recently, because I think they just recently performed at a place near where I live, so we'll see how that goes. But today I'm going to be talking about some of the shows that I've seen by Cirque du Soleil that I think and I recommend if you're able to either see it live or if you are able to get your hand on one of their DVDs. I highly recommend these 3 shows that I'm about to talk about. Now, the first one that I'm going to be talking about is OVO. Now, this was first performed in 2009, but I know that whenever I watched it, it was around maybe 2010, 2011 maybe. But I was a little bit younger, so my memory on this, even if I do read some of the summaries, it's a little bit fuzzy, so please forgive me on that. So this show, I think, has a really cool concept because it's based off of insects. Now, this kind of reminds me of almost like a Bug's Life type deal, which I really dig, but OVO actually means egg. I don't know what language, but that's what they said in their description. So I thought that was interesting too, because right before they start the show, there's a big egg in the center of the stage. And once the performance starts, you see it crack open and you see all these little bugs fly out, which I think is really cool. And it's really just to show what type of different insects there are, what if they were human, what could some of their talents be. Like, I know they had a cricket and they were playing violin at one point, which is very fitting to me. But yeah, it's basically this really cute, family-friendly show that soon unravels into a love story. So I thought that was very cute. I can't speak much about this one since, like how I said, I don't really remember that much, but moving right on, we're going to talk about this one that I actually recently watched the DVD with my family, and it's called Koza. Oh boy, this is such a good show, and I really, really, really recommend that you go and see this if you ever have the chance, because it's very heartwarming. So the release date of this was 2008, which I know for sure I didn't see this in 2008 because I was in kindergarten, wouldn't have remembered this much, but we did see it as my second show, so I do know it was after 2010, 2011. But the whole plot of this one is an innocent boy is trying to find his way in the world almost. It starts with him flying a kite, and it soon quickly changes whenever he is met by like this kingdom of people, like a trickster, a king. There's some clowns in there, like all these really cool people, all these cool characters. He's met by all these people, and they basically just take like a journey through the madness of like what this world of Koza is. And the trickster, which is almost like the one of the main characters, I guess you could say, he is leading this innocent boy like, hey, look at these people and what they can do. Come look at this or meet this person. And he basically like invented and created the world of Koza, which I thought was really cool, that like it wasn't the king who usually you would usually think would make a world. It was the trickster, almost like the Joker of the deal. So I thought that was very unique, that I've never seen anything like that before. One of the characters that I really personally liked was the king. He was not this very sophisticated and well-built man with a big crown on his head, but rather a scrawny and goofy and clumsy and awkward king who has two very funny clowns follow him around like a little puppy the whole show. It is so I don't know how else to describe it. He's just so funny and kooky, and just the way he acts and interacts with the audience, because that's what they do during their shows. At one point or another, they have some sort of interaction with the audience, which I think and really appreciate. So yeah, the whole deal of this is like, come step into the world of Koza and just see what madness awaits. And to me, even though like Cirque du Soleil is basically a circus, this is like almost like a real circus, because they had like acrobatics in there. They were walking that tightrope. There was a man on a unicycle with a lady that was performing with him. Those were those big circles that like go around in a circle, in a bigger, even bigger circle. I don't even know what you would really call that, but it was very dangerous. I know all of the stunts they did, and they're all very trained professionals, and it's really cool to see something like that come into light, because when you think of circus, you just think of this or at least I do, I think of this run-down, beat-up guy with like a lion in a cage, but like I am telling you, this is such a cool show, and I highly recommend you watch them, because if it isn't for the performance, just at least for the arts, like their costumes are spectacular. It's so cute. So the one that I recently watched is called Curious, not Curious, but Curious with a K. And this was released in 2014, which is when I believe I saw it. And I really enjoyed this one because it has a steampunk theme throughout it. All the characters look like they're made of metal, or most of them do at least. And the whole deal of this is kind of like just like technology and how it's progressed and what it maybe would have been like in the steampunk era. There's this main character who's like this big authoritative figure throughout the entire show, and his name is Mr. Microcosmos, and he has a big metal stomach throughout the entire show. He walks around, I don't say he bosses everyone around, but he just takes charge of everybody and makes sure nothing gets out of hand, which it's pretty funny to watch because there's some goofy characters in there. But something that I thought was really cool was inside of his stomach, if you were to open up the hatch that's in front of it, there is a small woman in there, and she has her own little like chair, and it's not that big of a stomach. So I thought it was super cool that she had been in there for however long when they're performing, and then when he opens up his hatch to his stomach, there's been a woman in there all along. So I thought it was cool. I also really liked the music that they played during this. I even bought their vinyl for my record player because I thought it was really catchy music. It was like almost a jazz theme. Like all of the music that they play kind of fits with the theme of the storyline, which I really appreciate. So there was very jazzy music in this one, steampunk, all the instruments that they were playing looked kooky. There's a man who had a costume that made him look like an accordion, which was really cool. There's robots on the stage, not actual robots, but the character of a robot was on the stage, and they're just really dysfunctional, and they're just the slapstick humor that they have in these shows is really cool, and I really appreciate it. And the most recent one that my sister went to go see, actually, I haven't seen this one, but she told me about it. It's called Luzia, I'm pretty sure. And I don't know how to feel, but from what she told me, she said that this was not the best show that she's seen because she's seen that it has a storyline more. It's like taking a step into Mexico, into all these beautiful, vibrant colors, which I would have loved to see more of the costumes from the trailer. But I do know that they had this big mechanical horse in one of the scenes. There were not as much acrobatics I heard from her, so I don't know. I think this was just more of their like sit down and actually enjoy a story type shows, which I feel if you're into that kind of stuff, maybe that show would be for you. But with me and my family, at least, we like to see more of the acrobatics and people's talents whenever we go see Cirque du Soleil. But yeah, that's pretty much all for this episode. I really recommend, if you have the chance or the money or just to go with a friend or family, I do recommend seeing this with somebody because it makes the experience way more better. So if you have the chance, please go check out Ovo, Koza, or Curious because they are all very well done productions. And yeah, they're just fun to sit down and watch whenever you have the time. So that's all for this episode, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.
Don't you wanna stay? You are a fairy tale.